Dalvin Cook has come out and said that he will not be participating in any Minnesota Vikings team events, whether that's OTAs, whether that's training camp, whether that's season, I guess, until he gets an extension, a reasonable extension or something of that nature. And when you think about that, you don't think, okay, that's good news for the Minnesota Vikings. Because Dalvin Cook, if you do recall, Dalvin Cook, so good at football, so good at running the football, that the Minnesota Vikings, the rest of the team, almost completely imploded because they got addicted. Kevin Stefanski got addicted to handing the ball off to Dalvin Cook early. This led to Adam Thielen being upset in post-game presser. This led to Stephon Diggs not showing up to a practice. He's now out of town. Dalvin Cook, by all accounts, whether you hear Kirk Cousins speak, Thielen speak, Kyle Rudolph speak, Zimmer speak, Dalvin Cook is the driver behind the Minnesota Vikings offense. And this is something that is very true in a lot of situations. If you have a good running game, there's a good chance that your passing game also fantastic. Look at what Tannehill was able to accomplish whenever he came to Tennessee and had Derrick Henry, King Henry behind him versus what he was doing in Miami where they didn't have the prominent super run game. It's just the way the NFL offenses work. If you can have the ability to either play action or make sure they keep an extra person in the box with the athletes on the outside and the way rules are set up, you can get somebody open and throw somebody open. That's why Aaron Jones for the Green Bay Packers was such a big deal for Aaron Rodgers, because he was able to open up the entire box. He was able to open up the back end of offenses. He was able to do things for Aaron Rodgers. Now, granted, Aaron Rodgers had to make some pinpoint passes, and they got to the NFC Championship game and gave up 186 yards rushing to a team, by the way, there's a great run game. The San Francisco 49ers, they have a run game that opens up for Jimmy G to hit George Kittle. Emmanuel Sanders now gone, but you name it, Deebo Samuel. The run game sets up everything on an offense. That's why offensive linemen matter so much, because if they can move bodies, it's a big deal. And that's why running backs matter so much. And you never really realize that until the end of the season, because all the other times, the only thing running backs are talked about is how can we get one for cheaper. The running back payment thing is not a normal thing. Derrick Henry just had such a massive year. He got franchise tag because they couldn't come to an agreement. Christian McCaffrey, who was incredible running back, wide receiver, you name it, playmaker for the Carolina Panthers, he just got broken off. That is not normal. Zeke got $50 million guaranteed, but he had to hold out to do so. I mean, running backs in a business fashion do not get treated the exact same way as other superstars at other positions. And to be honest, it doesn't make much sense, because when push comes to shove, literally, the running game is normally what's going to carry you throughout the entire thing. Look at the Patriots. Tom Brady, very, very good, but their run game, whenever it is good, the Patriots are good. That's just how it goes. Now, the reason why Dalvin Cook wants a reasonable extension right now, not only because he doesn't want to get into free agency and he would like to earn his money and maybe he gets hurt this year and all that stuff, but if you look at the running backs that are up as free agents next year, you do not want to get in there. You do not want to get in to free agency as a running back next year, no matter how damn good you are. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Derrick Henry, Leonard Fournette, Joe Mixon, Alvin Kamara, Kenyon Drake, Todd Gurley, James Conner, Damian Williams, Kareem Hunt, Tariq Cohen, Marlon Mack, Chris Carson, Jamal Williams, and Matt Breida. But also add Travis Etienne's coming through the draft, and there's going to be other people. This is just like the quarterbacks this offseason for the free agency. At some point, somebody's going to be left out of a seat. Cam Newton still doesn't have a position or a team, and 2 years ago, he was an MVP caliber player. I mean, this is an insane time, because if you're the Minnesota Vikings and Dalvin Cook comes after this season, let's say he has another great season. He comes in after this season and goes, hey, listen, I want a deal. I would like to work a deal. I'd like to stay here. The Minnesota Vikings go, oh, is that right? Okay, well, we could just give that to James Conner instead. And then every other team, that was 15 dudes. It was 10 to 15 guys that are top tier running backs in there. Alvin Kamara, superstar. Joe Mixon got his life together in Cincinnati, became a great football player. Leonard Fournette, he went and had like a kumbaya session, got rid of some friends. He came back a good football player. Aaron Jones had 5 touchdowns in one game last year. Todd Gurley, obviously a stud in Atlanta. He just got okayed in Atlanta, by the way. After a couple months, he was able to fly to Atlanta, get a physical. He's off and ready to run. Let's assume he's going to have a massive year. James Conner, he looks bigger and healthier than he's ever been. Let's hope for, if you're a Steelers fan, you're hoping that's the case. The list just goes on and on. Tariq Cohen, he was a stud last year. Then the Bears stopped using him for some reason. Marlon Mack, I mean, it's just a list and a list and a list. Derrick Henry, coming off his franchise tag. What the hell is going to happen with him? That is a long list of incredible running backs right there that go all the way down to there. I mean, that is a long list. You do not want to get into free agency with that many options available at that high of a level. And who knows who's going to pop up out of nowhere this year that's going to become a great running back. I mean, that is Dalvin Cook wanting an extension for a reasonable extension is not only smart business-wise because he doesn't want to get into free agency with all these motherfuckers right here, but also because he could get hurt. They don't pay running backs. Has to use his leverage right now. Stephon Diggs is gone. They got Justin Jefferson in there. They're going to need Dalvin Cook still. I think this is a smart move by him. I don't know if it's going to pay off for him, but I think this is a smart move. And I would assume a lot of those other guys are looking at that going, yeah, me too. Me too. So sorry to interrupt. If you're a man watching this, you deserve to have long, great. And you can do that now with our friends at Roman. Right now, you go to GetRoman.com. You get $10 off and free 2-day shipping on Roman swipes, which are guaranteed to make you have longer, more fulfilling every time you get in the sack. Now let's get back to the fornicating action.
I think because running backs are asking for money, teams like the Niners and the Patriots who have stables of running backs will become more common where they use 3 or 4 guys so they don't have to pay just one.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is you definitely do that. And the stables are obviously a younger guy who's cheap.
Yeah.
There's always like, there's a bell cow, somebody gets paid, there's somebody that has money, then there's a younger guy, and then there's another guy, right?
Yeah.
And it's always because you never know what's going to happen whenever somebody's getting hit that much. You have no clue what's going to happen early, different styles, different adjustments. I think there'll be a lot of stables for sure, but all those guys, who are you going to pitch in there? It's like, okay, you're in a prime right now. You're damn good. Yeah. You're going to go to a place where you're going to be in a stable. And by the way, we're only going to pay you like maybe middle of the market. It's going to be a tough wake-up call, I think, next offseason whenever all these talented football players run into the same problem that some of the quarterbacks fell into this year, where there just isn't enough homes for how many good players there are, and there's a whole cheaper batch coming through in the draft this upcoming year.
I also kind of respect that I guess he's looking for like a similar contract to David Johnson, which was like $13 million a year. He's like, no, I don't need the Christian McCaffrey $16 million a year. I don't need the Zeke $15 million a year. I'll take the $13 million. I'll take what I'm worth.
Hey, let's be reasonable here, okay? I don't want to get in free agency with everybody. I'd like to get my money. Okay, I feel like I've earned it. Let's be reasonable. Just give me what you got to do. It has now come out that he is looking for roughly Christian McCaffrey's numbers, is what I heard. So he's not looking for a reasonable contract extension. He's looking for a big contract extension, which, by the way, I respect. Go get all the money that you can possibly get.